Savitri, Book 11, The Book of Everlasting Day. Canto 1, The Eternal Day, The Soul's Choice, and the Supreme Consummation. Impeccable artists of unerring forms, magician builders of sound and rhythmic words, wind-haired Gandharvas chanted to the ear the odes that shape the universal thought, the lines that tear the veil from deity's face, the rhythms that bring the sounds of wisdom's sea. Immortal figures and illumined brows, our great forefathers in those splendors moved, termless in power and satisfied of light. They enjoyed the sense of all for which we strive, high seers. Moved poets saw the eternal thoughts that travelers from on high arrived to us, deformed by our search, tricked by costuming mind, like gods disfigured by the pangs of birth, seized the great words which now are frail sounds caught by difficult rapture on a mortal tongue. The strong who stumble and sin were calm, proud gods. There, lightning filled with glory and with flame, melting in waves of sympathy and sight, smitten like a lyre that throbs to others' bliss, drawn by the chords of ecstasies unknown, her human nature faint with heaven's delight, she beheld the clasp to earth denied, and bore the imperishable eyes of veilless love. More climbed above, level to level reached, beyond what tongue can utter or mind dream. Worlds of an infinite reach crowned nature's stir. There was a greater, tranquil sweetness there, a subtler and profounder ether's field, and mightier scheme than heavenliest sense can give. There, breath carried a stream of seeing mind. Form was a tenuous raiment of the soul. Color was a visible tone of ecstasy. Shapes, seen half immaterial by the gaze, and yet voluptuously palpable, made sensible to touch the indwelling spirit. The high, perfected sense illumined lived, a happy vassal of the inner ray. Each feeling was the Eternal's mighty child, and every thought was a sweet, burning God. Air was a luminous feeling, sound a voice, sunlight the soul's vision, and moonlight its dream. On a wide, living base of wordless calm, all was a potent and a lucid joy. Into those heights her spirit went floating up, like an upsoaring bird who mounts unseen, voicing to the ascent his throbbing heart of melody, till a pause of closing wings comes quivering in his last contented cry, and he is silent with his soul discharged, delivered of his heart's burden of delight. Experience mounted on joy's colored breast to inaccessible spheres in spiral flight. There, time dwelt with eternity as one. Immense felicity joined rapt repose. As one drowned in a sea of splendor and bliss, mute in the maze of these surprising worlds, turning, she saw their living knot and source, key to their charm and fount of their delight, and knew him for the same who snares our lives, captured in his terrifying, pitiless net, and makes the universe his prison camp, and makes in his immense and vacant vasts the labor of the stars a circuit vain, and death the end of every human road, and grief and pain the wages of man's toil. One whom her soul had faced as death and night, a sum of all sweetness gathered into his limbs, and blinded her heart to the beauty of the suns. Transfigured was the formidable shape. His darkness and his sad, destroying might, abolishing forever and disclosing the mystery of his high and violent deeds, a secret splendor rose, revealed to sight, where once the vast embodied void had stood. Night, the dim mask, had grown a wonderful face. The vague infinity was slain, whose gloom had outlined from the terrible unknown the obscure, disastrous figure of a god. Fled was the error that arms the hands of grief, and lighted the ignorant gulf, whose hollow deeps had given to nothingness a dreadful voice. As when, before the eye that wakes in sleep, is opened the somber binding of a book, illumined letterings are seen which kept a golden blaze of thought inscribed within. A marvelous form responded to her gaze, whose sweetness justified life's blindest pain. All nature's struggle was its easy price. The universe and its agony seemed worthwhile. As if the choric calyx of a flower, aerial, visible on music's waves, a lotus of light-petaled ecstasy took shape out of the tremulous heart of things. There was no more the torment under the stars, the evil sheltered behind nature's mask. There was no more the dark pretense of hate, the cruel rictus on love's altered face. Hate was the grip of a dreadful amour's strife, a ruthless love intent only to possess, has here replaced the sweet original God. forgetting the will to love that gave it birth, the passion to lock itself in and to unite. It would swallow all into one lonely self, devouring the soul that it had made its own, by suffering and annihilation's pain, punishing the unwillingness to be one, angry with the refusals of the world, passionate to take, but knowing not how to give.